Nam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye nashta prayeshu abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā bhagavati-uttama-shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtike durlabho manusho deho dehinam shana bhangurai tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshakai Nakama sarvakamo va mokshakama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nandagopa kumaraya govindaya namo namaha namaha pankajanabhaya namaha pankajaमालिने namaha pankajanetraya namaste pankajangriye Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaya Te Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. Today is the last day of the Pitri Paksha. And what could be a better thing to read than to read Bhagavatam, to express our gratitude to our ancestors as well. Because as the Bhagavatam itself says, Devarshi Bhutatpanirnam Pitrinam Naking karunayam rinim charajam sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartum. All the types of rina, the rina to the family, friends, relatives, people, demigods, etc., are the best way to take care of it is by serving Lord Śrī Krishna, his devotees, his cows, brahmanas, etc. So let's offer this reading today at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and through his medium to all the ancestors, and so that they can continue to make spiritual progress and attain the goal that is Krishna Prema. So I believe yesterday all of you did till text 12. So thank you so much for coordinating. I couldn't join because of some other services. We're reading Canto 9, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chapter 19, King Yayâti achieves liberation. So this is an allegorical story going on by King Yayâti about this goat, the he-goat and the she-goat. In the last few verses we read that how the caretaker of the goat, the she-goat, first revived the ability so that the he-goat could continue to enjoy. That was the last point. And now he's kind of revealing, he here refers to Yayâti telling to his dear wife, Devyani, that I'm like the he-goat. So I basically refers to a person trapped in material world, referring to myself. So I can put our name here, the poor intelligence, captivated by the beauty of this world, not captivated by the beauty of the all beautiful, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and having forgotten to the real task of self-realization. So we read text 12 yesterday, so we will continue. Yat prithviyam virhi vayam Hirnyam pashvastriha nadu yanti mana pritim pumsa kama hatasyate. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person who is lusty cannot satisfy his mind, even if he has enough of everything in this world, including rice, barley, other food, grains, gold, animals, and women, nothing can satisfy him. Or put, improvement of one's economic condition is the aim and object of a materialist. But there is no end to this material advancement. For if one cannot control his lusty desires, he will never be pleased, even if he gets all the material wealth of the world. In this age, we see much material improvement, but still people are struggling to get more and more material opulence. Manashashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Although every living entity is part of the Supreme Being, because of lusty desires, one continuously struggles for so-called betterment of one's economic condition. To have a satisfied mind, one must give up this hot disease of lusty desires. This can be done only when one is Krishna conscious. Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridarogam ashva apa hinoti achirena dhira. If one becomes Krishna conscious, then he can give up this heart disease. Otherwise, this disease of lusty desires will continue and one cannot have peace in his mind. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So thank you again for all the devotees who joined, taking out your valuable time to give your kind association on this day. So lust is never satiated. That's the point. And lust here, Prabhupada or the Shuddha Goswami is mentioning, it does not just mean opposite sex. Man for a woman, woman for a man. That's certainly one form of it, but it could be for anything. Lust for fame, lust for money, lust for hoarding gold, or so one who does not have the ornament of satisfaction or being happy with what comes with one's own accord, as even Vaman Dev says when he comes to the court of Bali Maharaj, that when Bali Maharaj asked him, ask me, I'll give you rice, barley, everything, whatever you want, gold, animals, women, whatever you want, I'll give you. I'll give you the whole world. He said, just 3 steps. The 3 steps of land. One devotee said, actually, Harinam is also 3 words. So if and he was comparing these 3 steps to three names of God. So, if one is not satisfied with what one has, one will not be satisfied with even be getting the wealth of the 3 worlds. Then we see that so many scams, so many scandals, and big things. I was hearing a class by Sadaat Maharaj, like Enron, maybe Sridhar Prabhu can tell us more about these big, like Goldman Sachs and Enron, and they were multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, like vice presidents in big reputed companies, but doing these scams. Why? Already pockets are so full, but there is no satiation of lust or greed. Right, Prabhu? Did I say these names? Is that correct?
This list is so there's no end, Prabhuji. Every day there is a new list of people who succumb to this lust. You take politicians, you take leaders, business leaders, so many people, hundreds and hundreds. That's why we don't have role models right now in any field. We definitely need role models like, Srila Prabhupada, so that we can, the society can survive a little longer. Other than that, Prabhu, every day there is so many scandals, Prabhu. And as far as this verse goes, Prabhu, one time Srila Prabhupada came out of the Mumbai temple, and Mumbai, as any other large city, is a contrast of rich and poor. So contrast, you'll see a 7-star hotel, and next to that you will see a slum. And he was kind of referring this to his disciples. In one side, there are beggars begging for food. On the other hand, there are so many rich people parking their car and go to the walk in the Juhu beach and so on. And he said that Krishna is so merciful. He has given all the resources that can take care of all living beings. Surdam sarva bhutanam. But it's not enough for one greedy person. So for greed is there, obviously the society is not going to be prosperous. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much, Roji, for sharing that. There's another example, I think this story just shared multiple times. If there's a bag of rice in the open marketplace, okay, anyone who needs it can take it. So the bird will come, pick up few grains of rice, whatever he or she needs, and they'll be fine with it. The monkey will come, take 1 or 2 handfuls, and be fine. The insect will come, take maybe a few tiny particles. But guess what? The human being will come. He needs only maybe 2 palmfuls to make a meal, right? But he'll take the whole bag. But COVID is also a classic example. People were, I was told that people were selling oxygen cylinders for like 100 times the price, or 1,000 times the price. I don't know the exact numbers. Let's say if it's available for 500 rupees, they were selling for 50,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. And guess what? The cylinder was empty or filled with just air. So many these things are happening, as Prabhu said. We can talk on and on about this, but the world needs examples, so we should try to be good examples and follow the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and the great souls who are setting this good example. So, thank you, Prabhu. Please want to add?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. The classic example would be Duryodhana from Mahabharata. He was so much greedy when Krishna went and talked to him as a peacemaker, just to give the Pandavas 5 small pieces of land. He refused it, because he was so much greed. So we see that how Lobha and the Kama, Krodha, Lobha works together.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Would like to read the next verse, Prabhu?
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Text 14. Na jatu kamaha kamanam upabhogena samyati havisa Krishna vartmeva bhuya eva bivadhate. Translation by His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As supplying butter to a fire does not diminish the fire, but instead increases it more and more, the endeavor to stop lusty desires by continual enjoyment can never be successful. In fact, one must voluntarily cease from material desires. Purport. One may have enough money and enough resources to satisfy the senses, but still not be satisfied. For the endeavor to stop lusty desires by enjoying can never be successful. The example given here is very appropriate. One cannot stop a blazing fire by trying to extinguish it with butter. So it is said here, that obviously it's a nice example that you cannot extinguish fire by adding more fuel to it. It's not going to happen. You need a different process to seize the fire. So the Acharyas say that one should develop insatiable appetite for Krishna consciousness and a very limited satisfaction. Be fully satisfied with material needs. That means, all we need is some food, shelter, a good life, good family. That's it. Be limited with your material needs, but develop an insatiable taste for Krishna consciousness. Now, some people might ask, I thought we should be fully satisfied in Krishna consciousness. But Krishna consciousness is something that you always have increasing happiness. So we should always want more. If you go for Mangala Arti, we should try to go for Rajbhoga Arti, then, Gaura Arti, then, the night Arti and so on. Not just that I just go for once a week and I'm happy. So that's why it said that develop the taste so that you have, that's what is happening in Goloka Vrindavan. The Brajvasis, headed by Srimati Radharani and Krishna, there is a competition going on. Krishna is giving them ever-increasing Krishna Kripa. They are seeking ever-increasing Krishna Prema. It's going on. It never ends. But whereas in the material world, we see that we might have read in our school days, law of diminishing marginal utility. Whatever we try, the taste goes down, the happiness decreases. So even if someone is intelligent, they would think, how can I be more long-term happiness? That is what is Krishna consciousness. Haribol.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yayâti Maharaj enjoyed for a long, long time. There are certain so-called spiritual groups which say, well, human body is meant for all these, and so why do you tend to artificially stop or voluntarily stop all these things? Bhagavatam is clearly telling one must voluntarily cease from material desires. But so-called gurus will say, no. You feel like enjoying the senses? Okay, do it. And when you'll be saturated with it, then you'll stop it. So the examples is one will never be saturated. As Prabhu said, it's insatiable fire. It's like, can the fire ever be satiated by putting butter into it? The fire will continue to grow. It will grow deeper, stronger and stronger into a blazing inferno, from a spark to so we have to cut the supply of butter to bring this fire down, this material fever down. And voluntary, I think yesterday also this point was discussed. Tapasya is voluntarily. To voluntarily do things which are conducive for our bhakti, whether we like it or don't like it. If we like it, that's great. Then that's not a tapasya. For example, I promise that I will not eat non-vegetarian food in Kartik month, right? So it's not a tapasya for me because I'm anyways not doing it, right? But if I'm refraining from something which is conducive for my bhakti, but I'm attached to it, then it's a tapasya. So there's a nice flowchart also, which I think we have discussed before. So the point is that one should, as Prabhupada is giving, the fire cannot be stopped by putting butter. So sense gratification desires won't stop by continuing to enjoy the senses or continuing to mint money. One will, whether one is millionaire, one will become billionaire, still one will be greedy, lusty. It will never be a pause. Because then the desires will also increase and the expenditures will also increase. And there will always be someone more wealthier. right? There's no end on the road. I think His Grace Amrish Prabhu, Alfred Ford mentions that people, are trying to get to the end of this road. I was born there, but let me tell you something, that there's nothing here. there's nothing here. That means the grass seems to be greener, but ultimately the people, sometimes we go to Vrindavan, we go to holy places, there are people sleeping on the road. But there is so much smile, so much joy in their life. They don't need anything. They're happy with what they have. They're happy because they are experiencing the higher joy of Krishna consciousness. Of course, we cannot artificially imitate it, but at least we can try to be happy with what God has given us and not be envious or lusty or greedy towards others' possessions. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you want to say something?
I can read the next one, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Dandavat Pranam, devotees. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Text 15. Text 15. Yada na kurite bhavam sarva bhuteshva mangalam samadrushte stada pumsam sarva sukhamaya disha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When a man is non-envious and does not desire ill fortune for anyone, he is equipoised. For such a person, in all directions appear happy. Prabodhananda Saraswati said, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. When one becomes Krishna conscious by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, for him the entire world appears happy, and he has nothing for which to hanker. On the Brahma Bhuta stage, or the platform of spiritual realization, there is no lamentation and no material hankering. Na shochati, na kankshati. As long as one lives in the material world, actions and reactions will continue. But when one is unaffected by such material actions and reactions, he is to be considered free from the danger of being victimized by material desires. The symptoms of those who are satiated with lusty desires are described in this verse. As explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, when one is not envious even of his enemy, does not expect honor from everyone, but instead desires of well-being even for his enemy, he is considered to be Paramhamsa, one who has fully subdued the lusty desires for sense gratification. Haribol. So next, of course, the next step in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is to define how to eradicate this lust, which we have been reading till the last text, and the lust reminded me of. I was today working on my working on a home, and there's this wine. It's called poison ivy, but this is a different variety, not poison ivy, but it's similar to it. This root, it gets rooted so deeply that I was cutting it for hours and still it wouldn't go. And then I asked the person who was helping, okay, how do I get rid of it permanently? They said you have to put gasoline on it, but it will burn everything around it. It will burn all vegetation, all grass around it. So this is how lust is. To really remove it, it doesn't go away. You cut one side and from some other part, the lust will come out, and so on and so forth. And if you try to really finish it, everything around it will get burnt. And here Prabhupada is opposite. He's giving the solution to this lust, is that one who is equipoised, that person will be happy. So to go away from lust, one should be equipoised. And how can he be equipoised? Is na shochati na kankshati platform, the platform of spiritual realization. And then Prabhupada says that then you will not be victim of this lust. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if you're not envious of your enemy, then you're understood to be Paramhamsa. And when Srila Prabhupada was on this planet, there was one person who was always criticizing Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said to his disciples, no, it's okay. He's my good well-wisher, actually, because when he I become a better devotee just because somebody else is criticizing me. So, and when he passed away, this devotee, they said, oh, thank you, Krishna. He passed away. And Prabhupada said, no, he was a good devotee. I pray for him. So this is how Paramahamsa shows by his example that he's really not envious of anybody. And even an enemy, he sees him as a well-wisher. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So nice example and sharing the realizations of the truth also. It's very nice. We all want to be happy, always happy. In whichever direction we go, we want to be happy. And there's a formula. Sarva Sukha Maya Dishaha. All directions will be happy for someone who Sarva Bhuteshu Amangala. Na Kurute. He does not desire amangal. That means Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. So Radhanath Maharaj quotes this in practically every class given on a marriage ceremony. He quotes this verse, that this is the principle of Grihastha life. That may everyone be happy, may no one see any disease, discomfort, may everyone be Krishna conscious. As Prahlad Maharaj also says, Sarve Khala Prasiditham, that everyone be Krishna conscious, everyone give up their envy, and let us together perform the bhakti. A very nice verse by Prahlad Maharaj also in the same context. And that's why he is Sarva Sukham Dishaha. He's always happy. He's always seeing Lord Nrsimhadev. Whether he was thrown in so many different situations and under the elephant legs and cobras and tip of the cliff of the hill, all attempts were made to kill him. But he was always happy. So why? Because he was non-envious towards everyone. He was always thinking of the welfare of everyone, and proven the same fact when the Nrsimhadev asked, what do you want? He could have said that this person was trying to kill me. Punish him give the worst punishment to him. Right? That's what a common common person like myself would do. This person was trying to kill me with thousands of ways. Now you teach him a lesson that the whole world has never seen. Right? Now God is in your side and he's asking you, what do you want? Prahlad Maharaj said, please give him your lotus feet. That shows the amount of love and compassion he had towards everyone. The non-envious nature towards, as Prabhupada is mentioning here in the last line, even towards their enemy. As we read in the previous chapters in the Samudra Manthan Leela, when even the enemy comes home, the enemy should forget the guest reception given by the host that have come to the home of an enemy. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that, let me desire nothing but the highest welfare of my worst enemies. So that person has no desires, no material desires, no lusty desires, and is always happy. And that's what we're aspiring for, to be always happy. And the formula is here, to never desires anyone's wrong, even if whatever past, whatever they may have done, whatever differences, whatever complaints, criticism, all that, we should never pray for anyone's harm. We should always be, even this example is also seen in the story of Dhruva Maharaj's and Mata Suniti. And Dhruva was disturbed by the harsh words of Suruchi. Dhruva Mata Suniti did not say. Dhruva was very angry upon Suniti and the father, Uttanpad. But Mata Suniti didn't say, please don't say harsh about them. They're not a cause of your inconvenience. Don't blame the instrument of your own karma. If you really want something good, then go to the Supreme Lord. Why are you blaming them? So she also showed the great example. And therefore she was also happy, although she was in such great difficulties. So many, actually, Bhagavatam is full of these examples, whether Mata Suniti or Kunti or Pandavas, and here so many, Dhruv Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, etc. Okay, any other thoughts or comments in this text before we move on? Okay, yes, people, Prabhu, you want to read next verse?
Sure, Prabhuji. Thousand devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 16. Ya dusta ayajadumati bhir jirayato ya no jirayate tam krishnam dukham nivaham sharmo kamo dhrutam te jet. Translation part 4 by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: for those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness must give up such unsatisfied desires, which are the cause of all tribulations. Purport: we have actually seen, especially in the Western countries, that men who have reached more than 80 years of age still go to the nightclubs and pay heavy fees to drink wine and associate with women. Although such men are too old to enjoy anything, their desires have not ceased. Time deteriorates even the body itself, which is the medium of all sensual satisfaction. But even when a man becomes old and invalid, his desires are strong enough to dictate that he go here and there to satisfy the desires of his senses. Therefore, by the practice of bhakti yoga, one should give up his lusty desires, as explained by Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Jada bodhi mamo cheto Krishna padaro binde navo navo raso dhamani uddatam ratam ashet tadobhadi bato nari sangame smaro amane bhavati mokho vikaro susthu nishthi bhanam cha. When one is Krishna conscious, he gets more and more happiness by discharging duties for Krishna. Such a person feeds on sense gratification, especially that of sexual enjoyment. An experienced, advanced devotee is no longer interested in sex life. The strong desire for sex can be subdued only by advancement in Krishna consciousness. So it is very hard to control our senses until we give our senses the higher test. And once we have the higher test, then only we can control our senses. And Gita is also said that param dishta bini bhatne. Only by knowing the higher knowledge and engage them in the devotional service, we can control the senses. Otherwise, even if we become invalid, but our desires never goes away because it is not purified with the higher test. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. The more we are attached, the more difficult it will be to give up. When spiritual life, one may find it very hard to give up because developing attachment to Krishna is no joke. It's not that simple, and it's easy and straightforward, but what to do? The past baggage is so big. So His Grace Mahatma Prabhu was doing a course recently, or already recently started, I'm not sure, but I saw some postings around this sexual purity for men. Quite important topic, because even one may come into the spiritual life, it is these desires may still linger till the last breath, as mentioned here, till the last breath. They don't go, as Prabhupada is quoting. Even 80-year-old man wants to go to nightclubs and see youthful girls and marries them. You see so many marriages like this, 70-year-old, 80-year-old man getting married to a 20-year. It's a joke also on this, like in Hindi, it sounds more funny. One lady, a nice young 25-year-old gets married to an 80-year-old. And then her friends ask, what did you see in that 80-year-old person? Right? He's about to die and you are so youthful, young, smart, intelligent. What did you see? Only two things. एक तो उसके income, दूसरे उसके दिन come. That one is the income. He is a multi-millionaire. And दूसरे उसके दिन come. After he dies, then all that will come to me. So, tit for tat. One wants to, men treat women like sex machines and women treat men like ATM machines. Right? This is material world. It may sound a little harsh, but this is what material happens in this material world. So we should try it, as the Prabhu said, Param Drishtva Nivartate, as Yamunacharya is mentioning, only through Krishna consciousness. So voluntarily restrain, voluntarily one has to restrain. The mind will say whatever, but mind, we have to kick the mind, we have to beat the mind with shoes and broomsticks. And because mind will, by default, it will go in the wrong direction. The default state is not pure, it's there, but we are so deeply rooted in the material world that the default has become bad. And the whole material world is talking about that only. So voluntarily, tapo divya, as discussed yesterday also. And then by the association, good association, by sincerely trying, refraining from the bad, taking the good, we can certainly overcome these bad desires. Whether it's lust for opposite sex, wealth, greed, fame, gold, or whatnot. Mr. Nilmataji, you wanted to say something? Yeah, please unmute, Mataji.
Haribol Dandavas. Actually, very nice comments by you, Prabhu. I really appreciate them. And one more thing is this talks about going to the bar in the purport. And it's so true. It becomes, they call it Madiralay. In one of the famous Bollywood actor calls it Madiralay, as if it's a Shivalay, or he come like that. And here this whole civilization is around meeting somebody in the bar. That's where they meet usually their future spouse or person they would stay in, cohabit with each other. And it has their whole memories are associated around the bar. How we are around Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, daily association with devotees, it becomes their in moment of happiness or stress, they tend to do that, and it's just such an unfortunate thing. I just wanted to add that. And the best part is to overcome is that Krishna house, they go around all the bars doing Harinam. So just wanted to add that. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much. That's so interesting. Only a day before yesterday, I was talking to my colleague and we were just casually talking that how he met his wife and how I met his wife. And he exactly said the same thing. He met his wife, or to be wife at that time at a bar, right? Okay. So thank you for sharing those comments. Okay, would someone like to read text 17 here? Yes, who wants to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. You can't, Prabhu, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Matra savasra duhitrava navivai katas no bhavet balavan indriyagram mo vidvamsham api karsati. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. One should not allow oneself to sit on the same seat even with one's own mother, sister, or daughter. For the senses are strong that even though one is very advanced in knowledge, he may be attracted by sex. Purport. Learning the etiquette of how to deal with women does not free one from sexual attraction. As specifically mentioned herewith, such attraction is possible even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. Generally, Prabhuji, can you scroll a little up, please? Thank you, Prabhu. Generally, of course, one is not sexually attracted to his mother, sister, or daughter. But if one allows himself to sit very close to such a woman, one may be attracted. This is a psychological fact. It may be said that one is liable to be attracted if he is not very advanced in civilized life. However, as specifically mentioned here, with vamsham api karsat, even if one is highly advanced materially or spiritually, he may be attracted by lusty desires. The object of attraction may even be one's mother, sister, or daughter. Therefore, one should be extremely careful in dealing with women. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was most strict in such dealings, especially after he accepted the sannyas order. Indeed, no woman could come near him to offer him respect. Again, one is warned herewith that one should be extremely careful in dealing with women. A brahmachari is forbidden even to see his wife of the spiritual master if she happens to be young. The wife of a spiritual master may sometimes take some service from the disciples of her husband as she would from a son, but if the wife of spiritual master is young, a brahmachari is forbidden to render service to her. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any comments you have on this important verse?
I think in this, for me, the most important thing is, like, as always, we have to be a little careful with whom we are especially with women when we are talking. I remember one time you mentioned in one of the lecture that it's always recommended to have a third person when we are talking to, or when we are have to work with an woman. And so that kind of reminded me here. It's not just something would happen. It is just that to control to control our own lusty desires, not because in the material world they are very strong. We never know what could happen in any moment. So I always remember that point which you mentioned before. It kind of popped up when I'm reading the purport, Prabhuji. That's want to add or share that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That's certainly very, very important. And I just repeated what I heard from Senior Vaishnavas. because that's what the Shastras recommend. And this is right as it is from the Bhagavatam. Yayâti Maharaj, let's go. Who is Yayâti Maharaj? He is very, very self-realized soul now, right? He is going through a series of repentance. He has heard the glories of Amrish Maharaj, and he is giving his own, deep realizations that how powerful lust is, how he was so attracted to women enjoying, and even though Shukracharya kind of, made him old, but still he wanted to enjoy. And then 1,000 years exchanged the youth by his son, still not happy still. So the point is, matras vastra duhitrava. So whether one's mother, daughter, sister, especially in the Guru Mata, especially in the when the young, one should not basically have frivolous conversation. Ha kiki kuku. Is even if one has to talk, because especially now in Kali Yuga, it may, we're not like fanatics and preaching mission, etc. We may have to talk, certainly, but it should not be for frivolous purposes. And as Canto mentioned, it is always recommended as per time, place, situations to have a third person, either one is married, a friend, a common friend, or one's wife, or their husband, or some other devotee, based on time, place, situations. One has to be very mindful of these. One should not feel, no, I've been practicing Krishna consciousness for many years now. I am a big devotee now. Then we know the story of Jaimini Rishi and Vyasdev. You all remember we discussed the story of Jaimini Rishi and Vyasdev.
Yes, Prabhu.
Do you want to share that story, please?
You will be much better in sharing, but I can very briefly, I can say what I know. Jaimini was a great disciple of Vedavyas, and at every occasion he would tell, when Vedavyas used to say that material senses are too strong, never underestimate that, he would always say, no, Guru, I have really controlled my senses and so on, at every occasion. So one time Vedavyas said that I'm going to go on a pilgrimage for a month, and you all be safe. And he said one more time, remember that material senses are too strong, never succumb to any kind of lust and greed and so on. And Jaimini said that no, Guru Maharaj, don't worry at all. I'm so advanced, I'll take care of it. So Vedavyas leaves for this pilgrimage, and then after a few days, Jaimini finds it is raining one particular evening night. He finds a very beautiful lady standing outside the ashram under a tree. So Jaimini, at that point of time, he's still not under any lust or any kind of emotional thing. He really wants to help that woman. So he goes and tells her that, why don't you take shelter in the ashram? I'll go outside and sleep. First, the woman says no, and later on, because it's raining so heavily, she says, okay, I'll go inside the ashram. So the woman is inside the ashram taking rest, and Jaimini is outside. And after a while, his lusty desires, obviously, it overpowers, and he goes inside the place where the woman is sleeping, and he tries to embrace her. And it is dark, obviously, inside the room. And then he finds the woman is none other than Vedavyas himself. Then he pleads, for forgiveness. And then he understood that the severity of this material desire, it's only a very high advanced devotee can only overcome that. Prabhuji, you can add a little more.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, especially in this Western countries, one has to be extra careful. Here, the culture of male-female embracing is quite common and maybe seen in some devotees also, but we have to be extra careful. We don't have to imitate that. It is not recommended, nor it's our Sanatana Dharma. What to speak of embracing is, don't sit close. Very, very clear. Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidvansam. What to speak of an attached person? Even a Vidwan, very learned. As Bhagavad Gita also says, the senses are so wild, they can even drag the intelligence of a learned person. Pretty much same verse here. Vidvamso api karshati. They can agitate even a Vidwan. Like Jaimini was a great Vidwan. He was not an ordinary so-called human being. He was the disciple, the great disciple of Vyasadeva. So Vidvans api karshati. So we have to remember these examples, and that I'm a fallen soul. These examples should help us to be more vigilant. Savdhani hati, durgatna ghati. If we are inattentive, we think, that's for Gemini, it's for Gemini, not for me. Then Maya will certainly show us. Prabhupada one time said, my disciples are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. Being afraid of Maya is a good fear. It's a healthy fear. Someone asked Prabhupada, why Maya does not attack you? Because I am, Prabhupada said, of course, I'm praying to Krishna so that Maya doesn't attack me. I have a healthy fear of Maya. I don't lose association of devotees. I don't fall in the prey of the trap of Maya. So that prayer is a good prayer. So, Vidvamsa api karshati. We can remember this line. It's an important verse. Balavan Indriyan Gram. They're very, very strong, like the wild horses, like the wild lions. They can certainly deviate us. Therefore, we should be careful. And what to speak of here, some people may say, well, scriptures go to a big extent here. Sitting with your daughter, sister, etc. But sorry to say, these cases happen. And we all must have heard these cases in India, and father raping the daughter. These cases are happening. It's not just theory. These are happening. You may have heard these in newspapers. And in some cultures, I don't want to name them, the father can legally marry the daughter and have children from her. What in one sense? It's not Sanatana Dharma, but anyways, some religions allow that. So anyways, but the point is, even I was reading some statistics that all these things, the abuse for young kids, male, females, most of them are linked to some family connection. That means uncles, elder cousins, etc., etc. In some family connections, it is linked. And the young child may not even be aware sometimes what's going on, and the lust is so powerful. So to be extra careful. This is not, all this is available, all this data, statistics, all this is available. I'm not cooking things up here. All these things are pretty widely open. We may not talk about it, but that does not hide the reality. Scriptures bring us to light from the darkness of ignorance. So one has to be careful, oneself and for one's family as well. And for everyone actually, for the community, as we discussed, because this is all Krishna conscious society. Okay, I know a lot of you want to read, but you all will get chance tomorrow, so don't lose hope. But any closing comments here before we wrap up today? Okay. So,
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhu. If I can just add a comment to what's happening in the society in today's world, we have a leader, a recent contemporary leader, who said that he would have dated his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. And that was very shocking. But more shocking was that it was accepted as a general statement. Nobody took it offensive or anything like that. They thought it was quite cool and it's acceptable, you know. That's the status of condition that we are right now.
thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. As Shastra said, Andhanta yathandher upagiyamam, blind leading the blind. So blind following the blind. So that's what is really happening. Therefore, there is great need of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or Bhagavad Gita to open our eyes from that spiritual blindness. So let's continue to read regularly and inspire others as well. So thank you so much. Granthraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrī Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaurabhaktam ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva jattitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo. Hare Kṛṣṇa, thank you so much.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji.
Thank you.